Good evening, everybody. Good Friday evening. This is Miss Breland jumping on with just a very brief video, but this is one actually that I thought I had already recorded for you all. But I thought, although I hadn't done it after checking some of the videos that I've added to the YouTube channel, that this was one that was important for me to add because of how we test in here and how we handle test corrections. So, as you know, most recently the kids took their division test the other week, and they got their test back, and they were working on test corrections this week as well. So I want to just take some time just to one, thank you for your support when the kids come home to work on that. I appreciate you helping out with it, but also just to kind of clarify why this is a beneficial thing for the kids to do, and number two, clarify what's expected when they're filling it out. So I'll actually go over the test correction sheet and then kind of show you an example of how to fill it out. So it's always going to look like this. This would include a space for them to record whatever problem number they're working on. The original answer won't be like an A, B, C, or D. Their tests are typically multiple choice. They would actually have to write out the answer that they chose, so not an A, B, C, or D, because that's not going to give us much information if they're just putting a letter. So if you can look out for that if you are kind of observing them filling this out. They actually have to write the answer out. And here, in this space, they have to actually work out the problem. This is where they show their work to solve it correctly. And I will always make space to go over the tests so that they kind of understand how to solve it correctly. And then they will go back themselves and work on that independently to correctly solve it. So if that space is not enough space there for them, for example, then they can always attach an extra sheet of paper to correctly work it out. So this part right here is probably one of the most important pieces to this. The analysis portion is asking, what did you do wrong the first time? It is really important for the kids to be able to look back at their problem, the original answer that they got incorrect, and find their mistake to determine at what part in the process they went wrong. When they're able to do that, they can kind of understand, what their thinking was at that time. And also, it is helpful because it would help them kind of avoid making that same mistake before. And I kind of stress to the kids, like, this is why it's important for you to always show your thinking when you're working out a problem and not just guess, because you're not really going to be in touch with what your mind was doing at the time to make you choose that answer. So here, this is the part where they explain in words what they did wrong the first time, and this is where they have a correct solution. So I'm going to work out this an example problem and then show you how to correctly fill that out. So in this problem on the most recent test, it says select the equation from these choices that is represented by the model. They will have to look at models pretty much in every single area in math, and they have to kind of recognize and determine what they're looking at. So in this model, they're using base 10 blocks. And I'm going to get it wrong on purpose so that I can show you how I can analyze the miscue or the mistake that I made. So I'm going to take this and we'll see. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 32, 33, 34. There are 34 blocks, and there are 4 cubes in each one. So this must be 35 divided by 4. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups with 3 left over. So I'm going to put down my answer. That's letter B. And so that would go here. So letter B will be 35 divided by 4 equals 8, remainder 3. Okay, so this is what if they're testing, they would normally do this. All right, so that's wrong. So what I would do here, when they get the test back and they see that whatever numbers they got wrong, they have to correct it. So I would put problem number 10 here. And then I would write down my original answer that I wrote. So I would record that here. 35 divided by 4 equals 8, remainder 3. Now here is where I have to solve it correctly. Okay? And so if we're looking at this, I've already counted this to be a total of 35 blocks or 35 unit cubes. And it's being split up or divided up. And so I have 4 inside of each group, but there are a total of 8 groups that are there. And so I know when I divide, dividing into a whole number into groups, and then how many ever go inside of each group, that becomes my quotient. So here, this will actually be 35 blocks being split up into 8 groups. And that shows that I have 4 inside each group. But I got 3 left over because I'm unable to equally divide 3 that are left into all of the groups there. There's not enough for that to do it without, making it a partial number or a fraction. So this is the correct answer. So then what I would do from that point is this would come in when I go over corrections, right? And then they go back independently. Typically it's for homework. They solve it correctly after having seen me do it. And then here is where the analysis comes in. And so I have to look back at what I did before, what I did wrong the first time. And this is where, again, it's important for them to work out their problems. So what I did wrong the first time was I took the total number of blocks and I was just looking at how many unit cubes were inside of each group. So that's why I did 35 divided by 4 instead of thinking about 35 being divided by a total of 8 groups. So here I would explain that I took the total number of blocks, or at least I saw the total number of blocks, and divided by 4 because I saw four blocks in every group. I didn't think about so instead of dividing by the number of groups, and sometimes the explanation will be a little bit more simplified, like, oh, I forgot to regroup when I was subtracting, or oh, I multiplied it incorrectly by getting my multiplication fact, like 7 times 6, I put 35 instead of 42. So whatever it is here, the more detailed the explanation is, the more the thing, okay, oh, I got to make sure I remember the next time that when I'm dividing, I don't divide, well, I have to divide by, the number of groups that I have. That's what the divisor stands for. This is the most helpful piece right here, at least in my opinion it is, because it will help them solve it correctly the next time when they're really thinking about, not making the same mistake as they did before. So when I send these home for the kids, number one, test corrections are a requirement, and it is a graded assignment. They are usually given several days to work on it and expected to get it filled out completely. Sometimes the kids will come back, it's not solved right, they don't have the correct solution, or in a lot of cases I've seen this week especially where they don't have an analysis at all, or they just put "I guessed" or something like that. And so a lot of times what I'm noticing is kids they don't want to do that part. They just want to avoid it, or they really don't want to take the time to think and look back at what their mistake was. So I wanted to inform you about what's expected when this comes home, and so that you, in an effort for you to be able to support them and know how it helps them on that particular end. So thank you for watching this. I hope this is helpful, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you.